If you'd like to be able to walk better, but don't want to take a lot of time to do a bunch of different exercises, then this video is for you. I'm Dr. Dave Candy, and in this video, I'm going to show you one single exercise that will help improve all aspects of your walking. And the good news is it only takes a minute or two to do it. So walking is a very complex task, but thanks to thousands of years of evolution and probably several decades of practice on your part, you've learned to do it pretty much effortlessly without thinking about it, until there's a problem. And when there's a problem, it's really bothersome because we have to walk to do just about everything in our everyday lives. So there are a few common things that cause problems when walking. And some of those are muscle stiffness problems. Other parts of them are muscle weakness problems. So first, for the muscles that get stiff and cause a lot of problems when walking. And those are your hip flexor muscles that run from your spine down to your hips, and then your calf muscles. Now, there are several other muscles that are involved in walking, but those are the two most problematic ones that give people trouble when walking in regards to muscle stiffness. Now, there are other muscles that get weak and they cause problems with walking. And largely, those are your gluteal muscles, both your gluteus medius and gluteus minimus, which are hip abductor muscles, as well as your gluteus maximus or butt muscle, which is a hip extensor muscle. And then you've got some tiny little muscles deep inside your butt that are hip rotators, and they help keep your knee from going in this way. So how do you fix all of those problems with one exercise? Well, you want to find an activity or an exercise that mimics the exercise that you're trying to do, which is walking. And so largely this is going to look a lot like walking, but in slow motion, where you can focus on each of those components individually. So let's first address the muscle stiffness problems. Those are, again, your calves and your hip flexors. So you can stretch your calves and hip flexors with one movement at the same time. And so you're stretching the back leg. You may be able to see it better like this. The leg that's in back, you're stretching the hip flexors here. If you have your toe up off the floor, you're only stretching your hip flexors. If you keep your heel on the floor, you're stretching your calves as well. Now, if you put your heel flat on the floor and move your knee forwards over your toes until you feel a stretch in your calf muscle, then kind of roll your pelvis underneath until you feel a stretch in the front of your hip and your thigh. That stretches both your calf and your hip flexor muscles at the same time. Now, you've got this foot kind of staggered in front of you. And I should note that if you have bad balance, you may want to do this by a wall or holding onto a cane or holding onto a chair or something else where you can maintain your balance without falling while you're doing this exercise. Now, the second part of the exercise, you hold this stretch for 10 seconds or so, and then start to shift your weight forward, kind of like you would shift your weight onto the front foot when you're walking. And by doing this, what you're doing, you want to squeeze your bottom muscles and push off your calves, just like you do when you're going to take a step through. Load weight on your front foot. So now you're working your gluteus maximus muscle, your hip extensor muscles. Additionally, with this front foot, you're loading weight onto it. You're focusing on your balance and slightly turning your knee out. That works on your hip abductor muscles, your gluteus medius and gluteus minimus, as well as the hip rotator muscles, which keep your knee from turning in. So to go through that exercise, put heel flat on the floor, move forward into a calf stretch, roll the pelvis under like that until you feel a stretch in the front of your hip, and then hold for 10 seconds. Now move your weight forward over your front foot, squeeze your bottom muscle here. At the same time, you're turning your knee outwards while loading weight on your front foot. And then maintain your balance there. Then take a step. Now you're stretching the calf muscle on this side. Roll the pelvis underneath to get a hip flexor stretch. Hold for 10 seconds. Shift the weight forward onto your front foot while turning the knee out that way. Hold for 10 seconds. Step again. Place the front foot on the floor. Stretch the calf. Roll your pelvis under to stretch the hip flexors. Hold for 10 seconds. Load the weight forward over the front foot. Turn your knee outwards. Maintain your balance. Take a step. Stretch your calves. Roll your pelvis under. Stretch the hip flexors. Hold for 10 seconds. Load the weight out onto the front foot while turning your knee outwards. See it back to the other direction. Take a step. Stretch your calves. Roll your pelvis under. Stretch the hip flexors. Then shift your weight forwards onto the front foot. Turn the knee out. Maintain your balance. And step. Stretch the calves. Roll your pelvis under to stretch the hip flexors. Shift the weight forward onto the front foot. Maintain your balance. Step forwards. Stretch your calves. Roll the pelvis under to stretch your hip flexors. Shift your weight forward onto the front foot. Turn the knee out. Squeeze the glute back here at the same time. And then stretch the calves, and so on and so forth. Again, it's good to do this by a wall if you don't have great balance, but that basically mimics all the movements that you need to do, both in terms of flexibility, strength, and balance to improve your walking. So hopefully you did find this video helpful. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. Now, I've got a confession to make. This is actually the second best exercise to help you learn how to walk better, because the first best exercise to walk better is actually walking itself, but not just walking, walking with proper gait mechanics. And to learn how to do that, I'm going to refer you to this other video right over here.